Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amazing Scale Modelers Sunday Hangout. I'm your host, Jack, host extraordinaire for the Amazing Scale Modelers communities, Facebook, and I'm just screwing up my script. I am the host extraordinaire for the Amazing Scale Modelers Hangouts. And of course, Amazing Scale Modelers is a Google Plus and Facebook community of scale modelers reaching across all scale modeling genres and mediums and to encourage friendships from around the world. And today we hope you will find it to be an important source of information about the hobby, hear about something new, and see firsthand the scale modeling experience. And joining me today are the usual or the unusual suspects to help me kill time. You know what? I've been saying the usual, and my script says unusual, and I think unusual makes better sense. If you want to join us, the live chat is open. You don't have to have a camera or microphone. So bring your questions, comments. All are welcome today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and make suggestions. And I have to say, I got on this evening. First, I had to get through what was the across the pond yesterday, and there was a couple of comments in there that were very much appreciated. I think it was Scale Model Review who says he's enjoying the Hangouts. Thank you so much for making that comment. And as well as Bob apologized he couldn't come, he was working. And I suspect that he is working tonight too, because he doesn't typically do Sunday, he typically does Saturday morning. But long and short of it, he did leave me a message in that comment. I was unsure of what the build, the community build that is going on elsewhere, because he kind of promoted it a little bit. I think that was a promotion on the Facebook community, and it's the Muscular Dystrophy Awareness Muscle Car, hosted by Scott at Saltwater Custom Models. And so if you're interested in, drop over at Facebook Saltwater Custom Models. I believe that would be the page. And perhaps join in with the muscle card for the Muscular Dystrophy Awareness build. And here at the Amazing Scale Modelers, we have a year on for the whole year. We have 3 that you can indulge in to challenge you and maybe call it outside your comfort zone. First is the nautical build, things that typically float on water, even aircraft on aircraft carriers, typically that you'll find on an aircraft carrier, are pretty much acceptable too. I heard somebody make mention of the movie The Abyss and doing one of those bathyspheres that they used in the movie. That's good too. It could be underwater. It kind of flies underwater, maybe not so much float, but that could work. That would be making an interesting diagram on top of it. And there's a wood build. The origins of the scale modeling hobby was typically done in wood. So if you've never done a wood build, here's your time. And my wood build is staring me down as I speak. And also real space, not sci-fi, something that has been designed to be real. It could have been launched. It could have been on the, drawing boards and all that sort of thing. Nothing from the movies. It has to be real space. NASA, the European Space Agency, and the Chinese and the Japanese agencies, their respective agencies too, are of course part of it. And so, yeah, that would be pretty much it. And today's topic, let me get over there, comes from someone can't say I have seen in a while on the Google Plus community, Buddha Punk, or Pete, as his first name would be. I haven't seen him in a while, come to think of it. And he writes this, and I'll try to paraphrase because he even apologized in advance for the long write. So 3 years ago, I was scratch building HO and G scale buildings and rolling stock. I was buying Plastistruct, Evergreen, ambroid in fair quantities. It came to a halt when we planned to move back home, which meant moving out of the USA. So I sold most of my items in the hobby room, was unsure about the trip across the border, and having border agents carelessly going through boxes of delicately packed items. The thought of customs having paranoid cultivation and breaking things apart that I worked so hard to create was too much to consider. The first few pics I attached are builds that I either sold or gave away. The only thing, and he has this posted on the Google Plus community, so go over there. He wants to fast forward 3 years after the move. He had nothing as a hobby, no trains, RC aircraft, just a guitar. Forget the virtual hobbies and games such as World of Warcraft. I mean, that's what a lot of modelers do if they don't have anything to build. Ask Tony. If you're watching, Tony, you know who you are. Lord of the Rings Online, and one of my favorites, not because my son runs one of the largest servers, but Minecraft, at least I could build something. And it was a dumb move even to do that, because he really wanted to get his hands on something. He goes on to say about different things, about being very expensive, being on an island even, and he'd have to pay as much as 18% import fees plus tax. And of course, Randall here and then Phil pretty much know what that is, being in the UK. And he just needed to do something. And he bought himself a 3D printer, he writes, the CR10, which is a pretty popular one, and now he has Fusion 360, so he designs his own parts and prints them. And he does a lot of scratch building, and he even said, even asked if the 3D printer as a tool in scratch building, is it kind of cheating? I would say no, not actually, because if you are doing it in virtual space, like the 3D software, you're still building. I built one, and I'm waiting to buy my first 3D printer so I can actually print it. So that is not, I don't feel it's cheating. Some people say, well, there was one professional that says 3D printing takes the spirit, the soul out of scratch building. I don't believe so. I think it's a good tool to have. And in his circumstance, it's probably a tool that he's going to rely on most times. But today, so we're going to talk about what would your hobby look like if you had nothing to work with, work on your workbench. How does one do the hobby? And Carwin showed up, Bob showed up. Thanks for stopping by. And I think you guys will find this subject pretty interesting. If you have something to show, we'll stop by each of you and we'll start talking about the subject at hand. How you doing, Bob? And so, yeah, we did miss you yesterday, but, you know, it's good to see you now. Bob?
He appears to be frozen.
Yeah, he appears to be frozen. Okay. You know what? This is the funniest thing. It's what is 7, like just after 7 p.m. here on the Eastern Seaboard, yep. And we got the whole room filled with people from the UK, which puts them at midnight or something like that. How you doing, Carwin?
That's because it's bank holiday.
Oh, it's bank holiday. Carwin, you're looking well today.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and hopefully I'll be back in work soon. So that's a good thing. So yeah, medication appears to be working for me, so that's a good thing. Boxes of it though. I mean, you know, but taking a day at a time. You know, the doctor says that I should be fine, or you know, I should be able to manage soon enough. So. That's good.
Right. And you have been, you know what? I like your camera angle and I don't like your camera angle. The reason I don't like it is the same reason why I like it. You've got that shuttlecraft behind you, and you know, there's a bunch of modelers out here that want that.
Yeah. I have actually promised that shuttle to somebody else though.
Well, that's quite all right. We would like to make it. So right now, you're working on this bad boy right here.
Oh yes, yes, the red dwarf. Yeah, yeah.
The red.
She's going along. I've been doing quite a bit since that picture was actually taken, actually. So yeah, that's all. That's the underside being detailed up. There's a lot of detail to go on it, though. There is a lot of detail.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, well, that's actually that's those pieces there are actually there's 10 pieces there, so yeah, they take a bit to clean up. But like what you were saying earlier about 3D printing, when it comes to 3D printing parts for models, I think the way I look at it is that 3D printing is like saving money on kit bashing. Because it's no real difference to kit bashing. You just with kit bashing you take the parts from a kit, but in this case you don't have to buy the kit, because what'll happen is you'll buy a kit for kit bashing, you take the parts that you need, and then you got a load of parts left over. Whereas with 3D printing, you print the parts that you want.
Yeah, right.
And then you're wasting money.
Well, we've already talked extensively about the 3D printers in the past shows, but certainly like what you're doing on the Red Dwarf, and there's all those details. It's a tool. You can make these little bits and pieces. It's not the whole model, but you can make the bits and pieces.
I mean, like with those pieces there, they all have to be identical. Those pieces have to be identical. And if you're doing it like the way I did it on mine originally was that I cut all the pieces, I glued all the pieces together, I cut them all simultaneously so they were all exactly the same shape and so on. It was just a lot of time-consuming work. Whereas, and obviously, if you get one slightly wrong, you've got to start again. Whereas with 3D printing, you're doing you design it correctly, you get all stuff ready in advance, so you're still doing model work, it's just in CG, and then when you print it out, then you've got perfect copies of each one, and all you've got to do is clean up on it, and that's what I've done with those parts. It's literally putty in, sand in, fill in, priming,
and they're identical. Yeah,
and they're identical. That's the thing, and it's just because when again my feeling towards 3D printing now with scratch building is the same as kit bashing with scratch building, except you're saving money on kit parts. That's my entire feeling.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. But I don't think that. And I've been watching, 3D printing channels, and it in itself is a hobby, and not even scale modeling the way we look at scale modeling, but it's scale modeling to a degree. And there's CNC too. 3D printing is additive. In other words, it squirts out of a nozzle and it builds up the object. Whereas CNC is subtractive. It carves it out of something.
Yeah.
And that's also been very popular too, to make little trinkets and things. And there's people doing this kind of stuff and putting it on Etsy and selling pretty good on it. I did come across a guy who won a 3D printer in a contest, and then over a course of a year, not just learning it, but he made some money making little stuff.
There's lots of stuff that's going on Red Dwarf at the moment, because the Red Dwarf is just sitting over there on the table at the moment, just looking at me, going.
It's saying, Carwin, I'm not camera shy. You can set me up.
Hang a sec. Let's not break my ankle. Let's bring you over just to show you. There she is. So you can see.
Oh wow, that's actually a pretty interesting size. I like it.
Well, it's going to come in at about 2 foot. So
yeah,
because
it's big,
yeah,
but not overwhelming. Yeah.
oh yeah, well, and it looks bigger because it's got a cone-shaped front to it. It actually does look, you know, it's got this. I don't know if you can see that in there because of the light then. But yeah, and you got all the detail on the underside there.
Wow. Wow, look at that.
So,
Love that
yeah.
the jagged edges of the of your hole there.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
With
good.
all the, well, you can't really see it in there because of like. Let's see if I can. I've got some light here somewhere. Let's have a look. So yeah, if I
Oh wow.
put that in there.
Wow. Freaking amazing.
All that damaged decking going on.
Some greeblying went on in there.
Oh, it was a lot of. I can't. It's hard to see where the camera's pointing.
That's
No,
okay.
we can see it well. Yeah, we can see it pretty well. You see all the different decks and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's a shame you're not going to be able to see it when it's finished. Because there's be an asteroid in front of it.
You're either very talented or totally insane.
Well. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got one of the front end forks cleaned up, ready for detailing. Now I'm just starting to detailing it up.
Yeah.
So it's nice and clean. So that's a good thing, and just started adding details to it now and getting it ready for molding. I got some other details now that are actually in the mold. They're actually waiting to cure. So yeah, you know, but it's all different sorts of things. With regards to scratch building, it's all different sorts of things. I mean, on Red Dwarf there, you've got resin parts, you've got 3D printed parts, you've got styrene, you've got perspex. It's everything on there. So yeah, you just do us best for the model, really.
And absolutely everything scratch built about that. There's no kit parts used, even in the greebling.
No, there's no. The resin parts. They were resin cast parts. For let's have a look. Yeah. What has there been any kit bash? I see. It's really difficult because I'm copying the studio model. I'm actually copying the details off the studio model.
And they would have used kit parts for theirs.
And the kit parts are too big. Like for example, they did use a lot of Battlestar Galactica original Galactica parts. So I've actually got parts of the original Battlestar Galactica now, which I never had before because I've had to build them in CGI and print them out at 3D. But they're not actually, because it's the monogram Battlestar Galactica. It's inaccurate, so it's not actually the Battlestar Galactica. And because I've had to print it out with different details on it, not because it's not copying the studio miniature, but because the studio miniature redressed them. So I can actually show you I got spares because when I printed them out, they actually printed out the wrong scale. So let's have a look. Yeah, what we got? So yeah, you've got a piece like this on the underside, which is the rear engine of the Battlestar Galactica, which is the underside.
Yeah,
but it's not exactly the same as the engine on Galactica because it's been redressed. So the details are slightly changed. You got the front end of the launch bay from the underside of Galactica, and you've also got the front end of the underside of the ship from the very front. But because it's been redressed with these other extra pieces on it, it's a different part altogether. But all this has to be original stuff. So because you can't, you can't kit bash. There's no Galactica at this scale to kit bash from. So, that's the thing with the studio miniature. The studio miniature kit bashed. I think it's about 5.5 feet. I think the studio miniature is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this thing's going to be about 2 feet. So you've got to make that sort of reduction. Mm-hmm. So with all the greebles and all the details and everything on it that I'm copying off the studio miniature, you've kind of got to sort of just build them from scratch. There's no getting around it really. Like there's a piece on there that I've built. I think I can show you it. So look, I have to take some stuff off, otherwise it's stuff will fall. So let me just give you an example of a piece. Have I got it here? No. I can still show you anyway. So on the model here, on the back, you see that little piece there, just below the sphere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the studio miniature, that is half of the front bridge of the Imperial Star Destroyer. So that gives you some idea of how big. They took the MPC Star Destroyer, they took the front of the bridge, they chopped it in half, and they glued it to the underside of the model. So that gives you some idea of how big the studio miniature is when in comparison. I've actually got the bridge of the Star Destroyer here somewhere.
Yeah.
So I was going to use it for a comparison.
On the movie model for the mothership and Close Encounters has an R2-D2 standing on it, as well as a cemetery for that matter, which is crazy.
In my bits box somewhere. I know I've got it. I've got bits of everything here.
Oh, you save everything. You got big drawers there. You're saving everything. That's actually an important thing to keep in mind. I just started keeping long sprues because there's a build I have in mind.
It's good for going through for looking for parts when you need to kit bash. Go look.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff in here. For some reason, there's a key ring that when you whistle makes a noise. I put it in there because every time I whistled, it kept making a noise. It infuriates me, this, because I know I've got the part. I put it somewhere for safekeeping. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, just like I do.
There you go. So, just as an example now. So this little nub right there is half of that. It's the bottom half of that shape there. So that gives you some idea of how much bigger the studio model is than this.
Right.
And why you've got to create this detail from scratch, why you can't just, kit. I mean, if you were going to build one at the same size as the studio model, probably not a problem. But when it comes to scratch building, you kind of have to. And I mean, you can kit bash a certain amount, and it all depends on how accurate you want to be to the studio model. But in this case, I'm kind of. My general rule of thumb is follow the outlines and don't worry about the detail that would be too small for you, the human eye, to be able to see. But yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, what else have I done? I'm doing the rear engine bells. They're all painted up. So yeah, it's all good it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna leave it there. It's all good.
Cool. It's all good. It certainly is. I'm going to move on to this. before we get back over to Bob there. One of our members, he's a. If you look at this and you're familiar with the community, you're familiar with Joe McCaslin. Now, I'm not certain. I told him he's here on live chat right now. Thanks, Joe, for stopping by. You can probably tell us what this is, what aircraft this is, anyhow.
Liberator.
But let's take a real close look. I don't think this is a kit. What do you guys think?
I think it used to be a kit.
Off his monogram.
Have trouble taking
Now
off.
it's something a lot more.
It's moved beyond the original kit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be drafty.
The elements of the original kit left there, like the fuselage, and that would be about it.
It's just gorgeous work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous work. And what fascinates me is, again, this is all scratch building for sure. And like those bombs right here, he's probably got them from somewhere else. I'm almost sure of it. And there's probably plenty here that he's probably got from other kits too. But he uses a lot of styrene stock to get the ribbing in. This is just amazing stuff here. It's always a joy to look at it. But this happens to be a little more than he's used to doing, I think. It's a B-24 Liberator. Didn't I just bring that up yesterday on Across the Pond? That's what I wanted to build, the Liberator. Scratch built the interior. 11 pieces are kit parts. More than 500 total. Well, Joe, if I were doing that, I'd be fit to be tied.
It's gorgeous work, and of course, it's taken him a long time to get to where he's at now.
Oh,
but,
sure.
I mean, it's worthwhile. It's so worthwhile.
Yeah, I did. I had a chat with them several months ago on a social hangout, and he says he does a lot of research on this, of course, try to get it as authentic as possible. And yes, Joe, it's humbling. Yes, you humble us with your. With your builds, certainly this is absolutely.
Be absolutely proud of that, because it's a cracking job. The museum pieces that aren't that good, and that's
a fact. This is museum quality. Yeah, I mean this is. And he does a lot of cutaways too, so he gives you ideas and impressions of what the actual interior of the aircraft is. He does a lot of aircraft, but this is just basically taking a shell and just filling it up with scratch build stuff. And as he was saying in the live chat there, 11 pieces are kit parts, more than 500 in total. So we're gonna leave y'all to look at this picture and zoom in on it and pick out the ones you think. I think the bombs is one of the kit parts. I would think. I'm just guessing, but that's my vote for a kit part. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys tonight?
Very well, thanks. Very well. So you're not working right now?
No, I'm off tonight. Obviously.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't here yesterday morning because I had to work yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm working on the muscular dystrophy muscle car group build.
Yeah.
I got my 68 GTO going.
Nice.
Primer.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't settled on a color yet. I'm thinking it's going to be the green, but not 100% sure yet. It's a chassis. Framework will all be painted. Ready for building on. And I'm working on drilling out the spark plug holes for the motor right now.
Cool.
And then lots of the other parts are been painted, but they're still on the sprues. Type thing. That's for the muscular dystrophy awareness group build. Hosted by Scott over at Saltwater Custom Models on YouTube. I think he's got somewhere around between 50 and 70 people building or have finished their builds for that group build. And yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Oh.
My 347 here, I kind of put in the back burner because I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah. Ooh.
Just not feeling it. So.
Right. Right. Well, you know, it happens. But you'll get your mojo.
Yeah.
You'll get your mojo.
I'm working on this, and I got a couple other quick builds I want to get on, and it'll probably put me back in the mood to work on that. But I've got to get it ready by September for the first show of the season. So.
Oh, okay. And
one
which
of my show models.
show is it?
The first show I do is in St. Louis. It's the IPMS.
Okay.
Their chapter show. And that one in September, and then I do the one in November, and then I'm going to try to go to San Antonio again next winter.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 shows I usually do. I'd like to go to Wonderfest this weekend, but I just can't get the time off. So.
Oh well, I'll be there. I'll be
try
thinking.
to drop down for one day, but it's just not going to work out.
Oh well, that's from you. That's what, a couple hours?
Yeah, about 4 hours drive.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when I was looking on the map, I was thinking Louisville is about the same longitude as St. Louis, and boy, was I wrong. It's a lot closer to me than St. Louis is, actually. So, of course, we're going to be driving down. We're going to be driving down on Thursday and spend the day doing something. And Friday night was when I'll probably hook up with Lou. I understand Simon Merckx is going to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to try to go out just for Saturday, but it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can't. Then the other thing, I want to go in one day. I couldn't enter anything because the competition's a 2-day.
Sure.
Thing. So.
Sure.
I'll try to get it next year.
Would my Firebird qualify as a muscle car?
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. I will.
It was probably had a 301 turbo in it.
I don't know what's that.
It was a thing to a muscle car after the whole gas crisis era.
Well, it was an 8-cylinder. I did drive this car that I'm building, the '79 Trans Am. I did drive it. The sucker had power, like unbelievable power, and it sucked the gas down like it was no tomorrow.
Yeah, they had three different V8s in those. You could have probably the 301 turbo, the 400 turbo, or the 455.
I'll build up the engine. I'll build up the engine, and I'll do it as a work in progress picture up when I get to that point. And then you can tell me what it is, because to me it's all French.
They all look the same, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
Really be able to tell from looking at it. The decals will probably tell you on the decal sheet if it's
what the
cubic displacement is.
It is a MPC kit, so it's not necessarily high on detail, but at least it does have an engine.
It was probably it would say like 5.5 or 6.5 high output or turbo or something on the side of it.
Right.
But even the GTO only had a 389 in it. This is a small block V8.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being something like that. Yeah.
And my GTO had the 400 big block in it, and my Firebird had the 455 in it.
Oh, gee.
It was a Buddha. I call it the Buddha car.
The Buddha.
That's the sound it made as it sat there and idle and stopped on the Buddha, 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 Buddha.
Standard 79 TA in the 400. Thanks, Gearhead Workshop. He piped in on the. He knows what kit I'm doing. It says it's a 400.
400. There you go. Yeah, that's definitely a muscle car.
Yeah, the turbos had the 301. So yeah, so we'll be doing that, and also here's the next screen share, and this is somebody we all know and love up there for the Maritimes. This will be Ken Skiffington. He's a huge scratch builder, and huge in many ways. That's pretty much all he does, and he makes them very large. This is the it's a Star Wars thing.
Republic Star Destroyer.
Nice description, Jack. Nice description.
It's the Venator class Star Destroyer.
Yeah, well, I'm on at work. Somebody said, "What are you going to be doing for this 3-day holiday weekend?" I'm going to make it 10. I feel like I'm on the 10th day. It's only been 2, so that's how I describe my things. It's a Star Wars thing. Yeah, I mean, he's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating how wonderfully detailed these are and how beautifully done. And this is the
space dock. Is this
space dock from Star Trek. This is a 1400 scale.
I think it's 2,500.
That one you're seeing right there is 1,000 scale there. It's in a forced perspective. He's got 2,500 scale stuff inside.
Okay. Let's see if I can get past this. Lots of windows.
That one is 2,500 scale.
Right, but the one with the doors is actually
right at the
1,000 scale.
But the bay is 1,000 scale.
And if you look closely, you can see the battle damage when it floated into space dock at when was it? Search for Spock. Yeah. So, and he's got a Saladin class, a destroyer in there, and he's got the Constellation. Yeah, so he's done a lot of interesting work on this, and he said to me one time he goes, and I looked it up. It says every town has a place where you can buy 4x8 sheets of styrene, 4 feet by 8, like a piece of plywood styrene. That's what he does. He buys these huge sheets of styrene, and I'd like to see a scrap pile. I can probably be pleased with the scrap pile, not even these big sheets of styrene. And I asked him if he wanted to come on. He couldn't come on tonight to discuss a few things about his scratch building, but he just buys these huge sheets of styrene and goes to town with it. Maybe Pete maybe he can get one of those sheets over to the island or something. And he'll be busy for a whole year scratch building.
I do a very similar thing whereby I buy sheets of acrylic that are in large sheets. But you can get it from all different sorts of places. But the stuff that I tend to buy, the sheets of acrylic I tend to buy, I normally get them from like a builder's yard. It's normally the stuff that's normally put in for showers and things like that. It gets used for all different sorts of things, but you can buy it at various sizes, and you can have it cut for you at those sizes as well, of whatever size you want. And you can buy it at various thicknesses, and it's I think I'd pay something like for an 8x4 sheet, which I have cut up into 2 4x4 sheets. I think I normally pay about £15, I think, for one sheet.
It's not very expensive. I did find somewhere locally, and I think a sheet like that is like $50, maybe $60 at most. A large sheet, and if you can buy the regular hobby sheets at like a hobby store, it's much more expensive. You can spend like $20 on 4 pieces like this big.
I think when it comes to doing stuff like scratch building, I think what you'll tend to find is that if you go to industrial suppliers, that you'll actually find the same sort of stuff at industrial suppliers, but a lot cheaper. Because hobby supply parts tend to, like people like Evergreen, they do great quality stuff, but their stuff is really, really expensive. That's the same when it comes to like hobby silicone. If you want to buy silicone for casting, for molding, if you go to a hobby store, you'll find it really expensive. If you go to a silicone supplier, which is what I do, I go to a company called Tomps, and they specialize in all different sorts of silicones and molding and casting materials, and you can buy it by the gallons, and it'll cost you a fraction of the price of what you would if you went to a hobby store. And it's the same with like resins. Clear resins. If you go to a maritime supplier that does fiberglassing for boats, you can buy exactly the same stuff, and it's just like a fraction of the cost. And it's virtually identical. And the other thing is that because it's industrial, it's already UV resistant, so it won't yellow. And it'll be a fraction of the cost because it's an industrial.
Well, to Sharon, right? To Sharon Pete's pain. I mean, you're just bringing something up that expense. So this is a picture of what he gave away or sold.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you see that he's got a lot of Plastruct stuff as well as Evergreen. Now, Plastruct is really good as well. But again, it's so expensive. I mean, you've got stuff like H's there, I-beams.
He's got several $100s just here in this picture. And that's not even including the paint. We're just talking about the.
Well, you know those circular. See the circular ladder tubes. The reinforced. What are they called? The safety tubes on the left. If you scroll over to the left side of the picture. Like those themselves.
These.
Yeah. They ain't cheap. They ain't cheap at all.
He's got the ladder inside too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to need that for my water tower there, Jim.
But you get things like half rounds and stuff like that, and there's you spend everything in the Plastruct. I mean, that's not cheap at all.
No. No, this is the first I'm actually seeing these pictures as I'm seeing it. There's your little bits and pieces bin. And this is the kind of things that he built. I do recall that he did a lot of buildings when he was with us and doing the hobby as he wanted to do it. So, yeah. That's pretty intense stuff there. Moving on, would that be it there, Bob?
Yeah, that's all I got going on right now.
All right.
Till I start on something new.
Jim, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look something up on the Google Plus community that has something to do with you in a way.
Yeah.
But you said you were spending time and money on other things. What were those other things again?
Well, the other things is I've been drifting, also getting back involved into my shortwave listening hobby, and I picked up a couple older radios need to be repaired, and in the process, also had to buy some test equipment that I didn't have. So that's the sort of thing that I've been building up and spending money on the last couple of weeks.
Here it is. Now if I can get the computer to settle down, I'll key in on it, and I think you might know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I did. In fact, this gentleman's build was community cover over at the Google Plus community probably about a month or 6 weeks ago, maybe. I'm thinking. But if you wanted to see the pictures that I posted, if you go to the Google Plus community has like little sections on the page. You can go to community covers and see this. This is a paper model, and if you're poop out of luck, basically, here's a cheaper alternative, much cheaper than styrene, buying a scrap piece of styrene, much cheaper than 3D printing. you just cut up a piece of paper and just build something. Isn't that right there, Jim? You can even print
Oh,
this.
yeah. He's going to the extreme side of it, though, because he's building every little piece. Like he's building every separate tile and applying it. So he's going to the far extreme as far as scale modeling is concerned with that build.
Yeah, and he's even got the tiles numbered. I
He's
wonder,
even got the tiles numbered, yeah.
or making that attempt, he's got that scribbled in. But I wonder if you can actually get the numbers for the tiles.
Yes, you can.
Oh, I would see why not. It's not
Yeah.
top secret stuff.
I think it's published, so you can get the numbers for the tiles. I think that's some of the information he's actually going on, because it was a week or so ago. He said that we got so far. I figure somebody had some of the tiles in the wrong places, so he's got some reference somewhere on it. So, but as far as building materials, cardboard, heavy card, you can, if you don't want plastic, you can even buy yourself a block of wood and carve yourself something.
Right.
So,
it looks like here's using like a corrugated box.
yeah, it's using like cereal cardboard and stuff like that for some of the superstructure and that.
A chipboard. You can buy chipboard pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, like styrene. You can get it on Amazon. Chipboard is the stuff that you put behind picture frames, typically. Like you got a snapshot of the kid in kindergarten, and a cheap picture frame would have chipboard on the back. You can get them in very large sheets. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to build models this way, from cereal boxes. My mom would go to the bakery and buy cookies or cakes, and the cookies and cakes would come in a chipboard box with a string,
Yep.
And there was never any of those boxes around.
Yeah.
Because I ended up using them.
Well, you want to build something scale of anything. There's all kinds of resource material out. You can either get in the library or online. You can get for a lot of things. You can get actual drawing plans and stuff like that for items. So there's no lack of resources. Then all you got to do is figure out a way to copy those items to build your model if you don't have the kit.
Right. It's just what I find interesting talking to Carwin just now with his red dwarf, and he's just going back to this bin, which seemingly is like a mess, and he knows what he's looking for. He's seen it; it's seared in his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you're scratch building, you certainly develop like two things: hand and eye coordination and your spatial abilities.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to know where you put them then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, space you're putting in some, but certainly looking at the parts that you were looking at and say, hey, that belongs on the red dwarf is my point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you can look over the model and just sort of, I think when you familiarize yourself with the model as well, because when you plan out building something, you familiarize yourself with it, so you're able to dissect shapes, and then you go, right, this is this and this is that, and then you start being able to associate it with other parts. Like I know that there are helicopter parts over the skin of it, as well as tank pieces, pieces of the Bismarck. But you once you've done it, the odd thing about Red Dwarf was that there's a lot of stuff on the surface of the model that I know of because I bought those exact kits for the exact same reason. Because you never build the kit, but just use it for kit batching. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, I know that piece because I was going to use that for this, and I was going to use that for that. So you kind of find yourself familiarizing yourself with a lot of, like, for example, if you look at Stargazer, the Stargazer model that you've seen with Ken, if you look at that, that's got a lot of Gundam stuff stuck over there. The original studio model has a lot of Gundam pieces stuck onto it. But when you, it's how it's done and how it's chopped up and put onto the model is what makes it a new part. What makes it what they combine it with and how they shape it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And like Jim, he just goes to his printer and prints off a model kit. They're free, right, Jim? There's a lot of places that.
Majority of the paper kits that I build are free models. You can find them.
Buy card stock for it, and then a printer that prints on card stock, and the ink, and so hobby knife, and some. You use a mouse pad and the solid rods to roll the paper to actually make cylinders and rods and. Gosh, when you were, months ago, you were showing some of the stuff. So I'm encourage everybody to go back months ago. I don't know what show it was, but this was like even last year, I think it was. We talked about paper building too. But certainly you can find anything in the household. Somebody said before we came on the air, somebody used a shampoo bottle to just make something out of their imagination as a sci-fi show.
I was saying that somebody built a fantasy spaceship last year out of a shampoo bottle.
Yeah. Well, we got a show over here called Blue Peter, and they do that all the time.
Erickson is basically a shampoo bottle.
The most famous thing they ever built was Tracy Island.
Yeah.
And you can still go to YouTube now and find that video. It's unbelievable. That's a great show for scratch building, in fact, because they show you how to build lots of stuff out of just anything and everything.
Yeah.
And it's been a staple of British TV for the past, 45, 50 years?
Oh, yeah.
So...
Tell me you don't see a shampoo bottle there.
Yeah. Keep holding that up. I'll wait till I get to that point. Keep it. Yeah. The Eric. Leaf Eric.
Yeah.
Actually, it looks like a Heinz 57 bottle that's just oversized, but it does look like a shampoo bottle or something like that.
You know the guns from Forbidden Planet? You know the blasters from Forbidden Planet? They were actually milk bottles. That's what they used in the film. They were just milk bottles that they'd stuck a lens or a pointy acrylic lens on the front and a handle.
And put a handle on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, once you see a shape that you like, you just go with it. That's the key to doing a lot of scratch building.
I've seen people build models out of tin cans.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I went on it looks like the Google Plus community is good for this. Not to say that I'll say a couple comments about the Facebook community, but it just seems like there's a gentleman here who's doing progress of a Syria Civil War diorama. And just really curious, I went to his blog and I found these pictures, and certainly a lot of this stuff has to be scratch built, as probably also probably borrowed from other kits, bashed from other kits. And look at this painting technique. Look how real that is. Good golly.
Yeah.
Look at that rust on there.
All the rust on that dish, yeah.
Really good. Looks natural. And you can even go to the backyard and get some sand or dirt and use it in your dioramas.
Yeah.
I actually did that on my tank diorama. I put it on a placard, an oval placard, and I used floral grass, and I used stones from the back alley to kind of surround it and sort of make it look realistic. So there's a lot of things you can do to still be in a hobby and just being creative, just looking around and seeing what is out there to use. So how you doing there? That's a very lovely effect. Yep. How you doing, Phil?
Hi, everyone. I've got my microphone on. You can hear me, can't you?
Yep. Yeah, Jamie falls asleep and you end up just staring into space. Yeah, you've been sniffing glue.
Yeah, who needs glue when you got the good stuff?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I bought some new glue too, and it's actually a different flavor than I'm used to. So
Ooh.
we shouldn't encourage people to sniff glue,
No,
but that's
no.
what you do.
No. No, it's a bad idea, kids. Don't do it.
And if you're gonna do it through a paper bag.
Yeah. But no.
Oh shoot! Anyway, what are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while.
I have no idea what I'm doing at all. I've excuse me, recovering from a cold. I've actually been busy, not doing a massive amount of modelling. I've working on this at the moment. The 70-second scale Panther. Also, I can't find the box for it now, so I don't know what I've done with that. But another little stug. Oh, that's the this one. The stug.
Somebody's breathing in their mic, Wayne.
Wayne.
It's the evil panda.
Unions.
Yes, the evil panda's breathing over my shoulder. So yeah, I've been doing that, which there isn't a great deal of results at the moment. I haven't been doing a massive amount. I've just spent the last 3 or 4 days rearranging the room, so that's been kind of occupying my time.
Oh, I thought something looked different behind you.
Sorry?
I thought something looked different behind you.
Yeah, I've actually got a shelving unit up. It's full of models now, but...
Yeah, when you got shelves, you've got to find something to put on it.
Oh, you have. Yeah. Well, it's more, if you've got models, you've got to find shelves for them.
Well,
Or
I mean,
vice versa. Yeah.
whichever comes first, isn't it? Chicken and the egg.
Yes. Yes, indeed. For the naval build, can it be one that I've already made a start on? Yeah, sort of one that's been sitting fallow for a bit.
The Bismarck. Bismarck is a very popular build.
Yeah, this is the old Airfix one. So I've sort of made a start on detailing it. You don't know if you can see much of that.
Oh well, yeah. I just
see all the white bits that all.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
Looks really good.
And I had to redo the anchor channels because they were completely wrong. And also, I picked up a nice little etch set, which I'm now going to be. It's the White Tenson Models etch set for the Bismarck and Tirpitz, and other ships as well. Actually, I think there's stuff for the Knives now as well.
Mm-hmm. That should keep you busy for a day, huh?
Yeah. Well, I've already had to redo a lot of the detail on the turrets.
Yeah.
The ranging.
The rangefinder
wings.
Yeah.
That they've been cut off and repositioned.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the other problem, when I was building mine, people complained, well, you got the range finders on the front turret. And I says, yes. And it says, well, they weren't there. I says, yes, they were. Depends which generation of the Bismarck you're looking at. Which version? Yep. Before the second refit, the rangefinders were still there. They were gone after the second refit.
Yep. Which is why I've took mine off, because I wanted the later one. It
was sunk.
Yeah, pretty much. That
was the fourth. That was the fourth, after the fourth refit.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm kind of going for with that one. Is that its final attempt to make the dash on the out into the Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many model kits are out there for ships that have sunk.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I did see a resin kit for the the one that sunk in Lake Huron.
Oh, the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yeah, Edmund Fitzgerald. One of these days I'm going to have to buy that. It's like about $400 for the resin kit. It looks pretty good, but I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm kind of drawn to that.
Well, the thing is that the ones that were sunk usually have the most colorful history. So that's why.
That's probably why. Yeah. Like the Titanic, people want to do. In fact, like I mentioned this before, there's a channel on YouTube. They build these scratch builds. They built like a huge aircraft carrier, and they were actually having RC airplanes take off and land on this RC aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And they did a video of the Titanic split in half and sinking, and it's just a bunch of nerds. Anyway, I digress. Anything more, Phil?
Just before I finish, what Colin was saying about greeblies and bits and pieces that you find on spacecraft and that, of course, there is one of the most famous shapes that you'll find on almost, if not from the Panther, you see it from the Tiger II, and very similar.
You'll find that over
several of those.
The vans,
yeah, several of those on the Millennium Falcon.
Yep, I didn't use them because I had the landing gear up. But I should get them cut and put them in my bins. Yes,
and see if you can find that shape and the Millennium Falcon as well.
Oh yeah, that's part of the recess engine detail.
Yeah, there's that shape. So.
Oh yeah, and there's tank wheels as well.
Yeah, loads of tank wheels of varying kinds. Yeah, they all went into it.
Yeah, you got Randall there showing you the engine bit.
Oh, there you go.
And just under the black fans there is where you've got the
bit out of focus there, Randall.
Any better?
Yeah, that's got it. Just about.
Yeah,
that's tiny little thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing was just a whole lessoning kit bashing. That was. All those hobby stores in Hollywood didn't know what hit them when Star Wars was being made.
I love the way on the back of the.
One of the fun things about the Bandai kits, sorry for swearing like that, Jack, is identifying the kit parts that were used in the original movies.
Yeah.
The reproduction, is that faithful?
There's the from one of the, I think it was one of the Airfix. You probably can't see it on this one; it's a bit small. But on one of the Airfix locomotive kits, there's It's a piece from the boiler of a steam locomotive that's actually on the back of the X-wing.
Of the X-wing.
Yeah, it's like the firebox. It's a specific shape.
Yeah, if you look at the back of the Battlestar Galactica, the TOS version, the original, parts of F-16 fighter kits on that, you know.
Oh yeah, without a model kit shop, Star Wars would have been screwed. We would be looking at parts of wood flying around.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
You know, Han Solo's blaster was a model engine, right? The RC engine. On the front of his gun, he's got like this big heat sink down the front of his gun, and he's got these two pins that come out, and they are the cylinder push rods for the engine, and you got the heat sink, which is actually for the engine, and that's what makes his blaster.
The X-wing, the engines from that came from the old Airfix Saturn.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the engines on the Y-wing.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
They also use the front of the Y-wing engines, weren't they eggs? Plastic eggs.
It was legs, pantyhose containers.
Yeah.
That basically those legs. This is what I've learned. Legs, pantyhose, and they came in these egg-shaped containers, and the fronts of the Y-wing engine pods were those legs, pantyhose containers. Well, one side of them, the egg shape.
And I have is that most all of it? There,
Yeah,
Mr. Phil. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. I'm done. I'm actually surprised I had that much to say.
Yeah, you're
Surprised
right
myself
there. Lil Dalmaso, he joins us on the Across the Pond. He didn't join us yesterday because he's getting all ready for Wonderfest. And
I thought this was across the pond. Look how many Brits here.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It just seems like I'm doing British shows, which is great. It really is. And Lou does a side thing. He does masks for kids, particularly Star Trek. He does a lot of Star Trek painting masks. And just recently, he had posted something on the Google Plus community. I can't pull it off Google Plus and turn it around on its side because it's the picture's kind of on the side. But we're talking about scratch building. How about doing like fiberglass? How about doing sheet metal? How about doing something that would be a 1-to-1 scale model? Parking this into your garage, as he says. And Lee Chambers says, "I hope you have plenty of vinyl for the masking set on this."
Oh yeah.
The grav plating is working well.
I'm certain this is not a kit. I'm certain this is not a kit.
No.
And if he's got the arms, the robotic arms to work, then more hats off to this guy. But there's certainly just the way he's dressed. This does not look like a picture from the 60s or 70s when the movie was released.
No, that's been his own
He's
joy
Bob
project.
Ross t-shirt on.
What's that?
You know they've got a. Sorry.
It's a Bob Ross t-shirt, isn't it?
You know what? I don't know if I can zoom in on this.
I think that was just a happy accident.
I think I recognise the hairdo. I'm pretty sure that's Bob Ross.
Yes, I've got that T-shirt. Yeah, that's Bob Ross. So no, this is not from the 60s. This is certainly more current. I know where he shops. He shops at Walmart, like I do. Bob. Anyway.
Yeah, the Discovery Pod actually made an appearance in the Star Wars too, in Episode 1 in Yado's junkyard.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can go in that direction too. You can fill your garage up with something totally useless like that. And the one guy who does not have any such room in his house nor in his little workshop there. How you doing, Randall?
Not too bad, Jack. Actually,
So that's why I made the Millennium Falcon this big.
Here was my point the right way. Wayne was next. But, been not so much scratch building as painting of the Skylab that I was working on yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing is it's kind of the masking kind of ripped off some of the black paint as I was taking the masking off, unfortunately, so it's left with a bit of a ragged edge or two here, but nothing that can't be fixed. Scratch building. I haven't done an awful lot of scratch. So the closest I came to it was too far. Was doing the base for the Millennium Falcon model. Essentially a picture frame. But, some of the bit just fell off there. Oh well. Essentially a picture frame that the Falcon was going to be sat on, as it would have been on the back of the Star Destroyer bridge.
Oh, right. From like Empire Strikes Back.
That's it, yeah.
We're just hiding. Yes.
So when I mount the model on it, be glued onto it, and then I can even just hang it on the wall if I want to. Once you get around to finishing it. That's me. That's all. That's all I've done since yesterday.
That's all you've done since yesterday. Okay.
Oh yeah, Carwin.
Yes.
Get ready for another moonrise.
Oh dear.
Weathering this for the.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. So.
Well, on the top.
Anyone that was seeing the chat yesterday will know exactly what I'm getting at Carwin about.
Sorry about that. Afterwards.
And on the chat, there was something was brought up actually very interesting. George says the TIE Fighter cockpit area looks like a car differential. Okay, I guess I wouldn't suggest stealing differentials off of cars and making them into TIE Fighters, but be a little heavy, I'd say. And then Mark Dunmore says when they were making 2001: A Space Odyssey, they raided the Airfix factory while filming for parts. I don't know how true that is. Is that true?
Quite likely, because
Quite possible, yeah.
it was filmed in Pinewood Studios. Airfix was just down the road from it.
I mean, they were completely because all the parts were wrong, but
yeah, they did return the favor when they allowed Airfix to produce a model of the Orion Space Clipper.
yeah,
Not a very good one, unfortunately, but that was Airfix for you.
that was Apex. That's why they were complaining about the parts. None of our aircraft have cockpits in them. What's this all about?
And Blaster was a broom handle Mauser.
Yeah, the body was of the blaster of Han Solo's blaster was a Mauser.
Yeah, pistol.
Yeah. It was actually two different ones because they had a different one for Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I can't remember, but yeah, the dressing on it was an RC engine.
Mm-hmm. I can't find it, but on the Facebook community, somebody did build a series of blasters. I do believe they were for Star Wars, and it was all completely scratch built. Mm-hmm. And it actually looked like an arsenal of guns. I mean, they look pretty real. I certainly would not.
My mistake. There were 3 Han Solo blasters because the one in the cantina scene was shot after all the other scenes, and it was a different gun again.
Yeah. Mm. That I did hear. There were generations, and I think this guy, and I don't even recall who it was. It's really weird because Facebook comes up different on my phone than it does if I'm on the computer. It comes up very different. I see different things. I guess it's just different things on my phone. So is that Randall? That's it.
That's me. Yep.
All right, and I'd like to move over to Wayne. And Wayne, I'd like you to kit bash one of your tanks into a build that is not a tank. Can you do that?
Possibly.
I mean, you make one of your tanks into a gun.
I don't know. I don't remember. I can remember when I was young, there was like this TV movie that they set in World War II.
Uh-huh.
The just basically it's like the 18 set, but set in World War II or something. I can't remember what the name of the film, but they stuck a P-40 body on a chassis of a Deuce and a Half truck. So something like that, possibly. But I've got a new ship build coming.
Go for it.
I'll show you. I have picked up the Trumpeter 135th scale HMS Kent, which is a Type 23 frigate. For £15.
You don't see very many modern British warships in model.
The Trumpeter do all the Type 23 frigates and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
what's the
that's 135th scale, but it's a lovely detailed kit.
Sounds big.
It's not that big really, because that's the hull.
Okay.
So she's not that big, but it's nicely detailed. Yeah, that's the that's it. It's Type 23 frigate. But it's also got some nice photo etchings as well. Come on.
Wish they do Type 42.
Yeah. That's a photo etch for it.
Hmm. Hold it back a wee bit. It's kind of
yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it's all the photo etches for the antenna and superstructure and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. But basically, at the minute, I'm just playing catch up on my competition builds. Because I've got a competition on the 11th of June, and this is one of my entries.
Ooh.
So all got T34, but it's all nicely weathered. This is the Tamiya 1972 model kit. So that's one of them.
Nice, doesn't it?
We still have the slots on the underside for the motorization and stuff like we used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weather beaten. Yeah, I've still got the rubber tracks, but they're all painted, ready to go on. But I'm just doing some of the storage gear, some of the bed rolls, and extra track links. Yeah, she's coming on nicely. It's just time. I wish there was more hours in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's one of my other competition builds. It's the T26 Super Pershing tank. This is from Hobby Boss. £20 from China.
That's pretty pricey.
Yeah. It's not really.
Yeah.
Free postage packaging, so.
I wish more kits were only 20 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think that one of the Tacom and Men kits are £40-50 plus, kind of puts it in perspective.
Have you, I don't know that you've ever done this though. Scratch build or actorize something, use a scratch build or anything like that. Have you ever had to do that? Because you've never really mentioned it in the past.
Not really. I've had to just cobble together something, just try to get it to work. I can't remember. I did try to scratching when I did scratch building when I did the Mad Max build.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did try to make a cow catcher type bonnet for my truck, but it just failed.
I'm sorry, it's just the way you said that. It was just like there was a moment of finality about the way you said that. Then
I'm set to what I'm going to do. That's it. But
how do you feel at a Mad Max build? I mean, it's supposed to be all a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to try doing another one.
What was it just fitting into your vision? Okay, well, I did buy a kit for that build, and I built it out of the box. I didn't do it as Mad Max. And I'm actually kind of sorry because the kit itself is pretty bad. Yeah, that hobby shop isn't open anymore.
Yeah, and I got my third tank build is the kits I always have trouble with. It's the Abrams tank.
Well, with the lens flare behind you there, Wayne, it's the J.J. Abrams tank.
Yeah. But it's just it's just I build it, I get halfway through it, then it ends up in the bin for some reason.
Yeah, we've all got our nemesis. There's always a kit out there with our number on it.
Yeah. But I have to make all the little optics and everything by scratch.
Okay.
I've got to cut on this. I've got to make all the little periscope blocks for it from scratch. So that's a little bit of scratch building I have to do.
Oh, all the windows around the turret.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to make sure you give them a bit of a greenish tint because of the thickness of the glass.
Actually, no. It's on this one. It's got to be like a clear red. Yeah, even the driver's vision blocks have to be cut out and made.
Yeah.
Could you do that with like a dental acrylic?
No, it's actually supplied in the kit. Supplied in the kit. Hang on.
It's gonna also make mention that Phil is also known to using his cat as parts for scratch builds. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll leave that as a mystery. But no abuse has been performed on a cat. It's just the cat lost a whisker, and he just happened to find it. I don't know. I bet you if I threw you in a haystack, you'd be able to find the needle, too.
Yeah. As I say, in the kit, it comes with this this sort of plastic sheet for the ID panels.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a piece of clear perspex, clear plastic, should I say, for the vision blocks, which you have to cut out by hand, not your fingers.
Yeah.
And then you get a bit of mesh for the turret basket. But I got the Tamiya Photo X upgrade set for it.
What it needs to come with is a box of these as well, because this is essential for scratch building.
I wasn't even scratch building, and I sliced my thumb open. That earned me 8 stitches.
Yeah.
Band-Aid isn't going to work. Yeah.
And my fourth build
most of us
is
stop cutting before we get to the first stitch.
And my fourth build is the Gundam 1100 Virtue, and that's how far I've got so far.
Cool.
I've just got the torso built, that's all. But I've run out of white paint now.
Still paying homage to Mark.
Yeah, Mark's a bad influence.
He certainly is.
You should have seen about you one time.
No, he said something else about it, but I'm not allowed to repeat it or we get demonetized.
Mm. Well, my understanding is he found a woman to marry him. Maybe he'll be tamed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe he'll be less of a bad influence. Yeah, but then again, he could be more so even.
No.
I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna get a rise out of him. Are you still there, Mark? He should be on the live chat. He does not appear to be there. Oh, just as we're talking about him. Good. Let's talk about him some more.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you certainly had got into the Gundams pretty big. I mean, the deal was between the two of you several months ago. He builds a tank, which he swears he'll never do again. He says, "You tank builders are touched. You need therapy." But you went into Gundam like it was second nature, and certainly I haven't gotten that far. But you know, it goes back to what you have in the house, what you have around the neighborhood, what you have at your disposal money-wise. I mean, this hobby can be pretty expensive, but nobody told you must build a kit.
I have got something else to share. I did pick up this. I have got this.
What is that? Oh, that's the stealth bomber.
Yeah, the F1, the
F-117.
Yeah, Nighthawk.
Yeah, I got it. I got one of those somewhere around here. It's all dusty right now.
Oh, it's 15 quid or so. What the hell?
That's not bad. That's actually a good price.
Yeah.
But there's really nothing to the kit, though. There's really nothing going on with the kit. It's not many pieces to it.
Not many pieces, but it's a nice, easy to put together kit. All you've got to do is find the right black paint for it, really. You don't want a really glossy paint, you want like a matte paint for it, really.
Yeah, so something like a Tamiya rubber black.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to want 2 or 3 black.
Unfortunately, I got
grays for it,
Yeah, I got that. Unfortunately, I'm running out. I have to do a paint order soon. Yeah, I'm trying not to do the hobby shop time because I need the money for my holiday.
That's probably good. Yeah, shop. You go there to get paid. You come out with a really expensive model and forget.
No.
Where are you going on holiday?
I'm going down to Dorset in June. It's that time of year again with the tank fests on.
Oh, right.
It's also where I go and stock up on my model kits as well.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a lot of good model shops around there.
No, at the actual event itself, they have a lot of model stores go there, and they also you can pick up some nice, decent bargains as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there are a couple of good model shops in that area because I've been there myself.
Can you tell me where they are, please?
Yes.
Yeah. I know, because you look. I try googling this stuff, and it's like, there's some of the shops are either closed or no longer there.
That's the case. That's the case. There's a lot of good model shops that have gone out of business or have moved to other premises now.
Yeah. E-models is still doing well.
I think what you find with most model suppliers now is the ones that have moved online to sell online are doing okay. But, what's the standard local hobby shops now are just closing up, which is sad. But, I mean, that is the state of play, really.
Yeah.
I'd love to go and browse around a model shop.
Well, it's cheaper not to have the brick and mortar location. It's just cheaper to have an online location.
The thing I find about going to a model shop though is that sometimes you'll walk into a model shop and you'll walk out with a model that you had no intention of buying.
Oh yeah,
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing.
You're specifically looking for something. Whereas if you see a model in a model shop and you pick it up and you've got it in your hand, it's like, oh, I'm going to walk up to the counter with this.
It's like when I go to Tank Fest, because sometimes I'm looking for a particular kit and it's like it's on the shelf for this price, and I thought, well, I'll just wait for it. I'll wait a bit later, come back later, and it's probably not down to £5. Yeah, no, it's probably not. They're probably knocking down a £5 because sometimes I normally used to go on the second day of the Tank Fest, and normally they knock the prices down just to sell us more stock.
Yeah,
so they don't always carry it all back with them.
Yeah, there's always one shop that always goes there, and he's like selling dragon stuff at really, really ridiculous prices.
Well, I'm just had a quick check at all the model shops in Dorset, and like 3 of them have closed.
Yeah,
four have closed.
Yeah.
Wow. But there's still about 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
But plus you got a Hobbycraft there as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I've never been to one of them yet.
Well, Hobbycraft are good, but they I suppose they sort of in the States it would be like a Hobby Lobby, I think.
Yeah.
A similar sort of thing.
Yeah, they're not going to carry any of the esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
No, Hobby Lobby does they don't do anything in model trains at all, from my Hobby Lobby anyway. But they do okay with the model kits, better than Michael's Arts and Crafts does. But I think a lot of the stuff can be overpriced. You got to be careful when you go to Hobby Lobby. But even if they do have that 40% off coupon, that you can just get up on your phone and walk in with it.
Yeah.
That's one thing they do have.
There's been something on the internet about Tamiya stuff.
Oh yeah, but the fixed rising prices.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with it's to stop the online businesses undercutting the brick and mortar ones.
Yeah.
So it's not nothing. So
it's just a matter of raising prices so that they can't they can't undercut people.
Yeah, that's so. I saw it the other last week, and I just thought, they're going to be just sticking to the prices.
The problem they'll have there though is that people will buy the stuff cheap beforehand, and then start selling it off after the price rise.
Well, how that works, they can only advertise it at a particular price.
But like,
it has nothing to do with what they sell it for. You can, like on your website or on your newspaper ad, you can only advertise this widget for this amount. Now, you can sell it for whatever you want. You just can't advertise it publicly for less than that price. That's where you go on the website, says add the cart to see price or an actual item.
Then you're suggesting that the manufacturer, like Tamiya, would say, if you're going to advertise a particular a new kit you got in, the
right,
retail
minimum
price,
advertised price.
But what is to say that you do that and you say, well, you come in and you can get 20% off of your purchase?
Right. You just can't. Say if a kit sells for $150, I say you can't advertise it for less than $125. You can still sell it for $99 all day long. You just can't publicly advertise that you're selling it for $99.
Oh, okay.
That's how that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's for advertised price. It has nothing to do with what they actually sell it for. And there's usually a time limit. It's usually only for like 6 months after an item is released. That applies after 6 months.
Yeah, well, it's just like the M40 gun carriage. It's like that's about £60 in this country to buy. So, see if there's one that they're going a bit cheaper than that, I'll probably buy it. But if not, I'll just get the stuff on my list I want. There you go. Just took the paint off those two antenna type thingies.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's coming on nicely. That's about it for me.
All right. Very cool, Wayne. Thank you. Thank you. We're just proving our point here in this discussion about the hobby. You can go cheaper. I don't know how this guy feels about it, but I'm going to say that he's not from somewhere, but he's actually from Indiana and not from California, though he's an Indianan living in California. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. It seems like the whole room here is from the UK, just about. And you're probably the earliest in the day of September. Listen to me, I haven't had a summer yet. I'm saying September. May 27th. I don't think it's May 27th in the UK anymore, but anyway. I'm just rambling. What has that to do with modeling? Nothing. So how you been?
Good. I was been really busy this week. That's why I kind of got in here late. I was helping my wife. She's getting ready for an estate. We're doing a state sale for somebody, and so I've been over there all day. And so I didn't get to work on my locomotive much at all this week. I've been chomping at the bit, but I did catch the Saturday night or the Saturday morning hangout, and I'm very proud of Liam. That he didn't fall asleep, so that's good.
Oh, that was Jamie. That was Jamie. Yeah, Rip fan Jamie. Yeah,
Jamie. Okay. Anyway, so after I get that locomotive done, my next project that I started a while back, and I wish I could have been on the Saturday morning one, is I would have showed him. Because he was showing you that Comlock from Space 1999.
Yes.
Yeah. So
so
I'm doing mine. Mine's all scratch built. So and mine's gonna be. I'm building mine right off the blueprints from the studio. So. And,
oh wow.
So anyway, but theirs was all. They only had one that actually. They had like a little CRT monitor on it. But all the rest of them were like wood, but with the little metal things. But anyway, so this will actually it's just stuck together here. But anyway, it's it'll have the screen will actually work on it. It'll have some stuff loaded up on it. I'm just got to work all the bugs out of it. But anyway, and then this will be all metal. This is copper, and it'll be painted and stuff. And then this was revision 1. This is revision 2. This would be the functional one with lights and stuff on it. So, but anyway, that's what I will do when I'm finished with the other thing, which will probably be about the way I'm going, about a year. So, gotta be realistic. But anyway, I and then this is my menagerie of wires that goes on. That's hidden underneath the push buttons.
Yeah.
These will have different functions on them. They're just little momentary contact switches there. So yeah. So that will be my next thing when I'm done with that. Like I said before, I got to finish one thing and I go to the next thing. So
what kind of LCD screen have you got in the display?
Oh, it's like a little 2-inch.
Was it TFT or?
Yeah,
SPI?
it's hold on just a second here. I hit the wrong button here. I bought them from China. They're little.
Oh, I know the ones. Yes.
Yeah, they're just a little MP3.
Yeah, SD card in the bottom.
The little MP.
They do MP4, yeah. So you can program it.
They don't have a touch screen on there, though, do they? Or
no, it doesn't. It's a push button here at the top.
Button on the top. I know. I've seen those ones because I was looking at those quite recently. You can get some with touch screen on them. They're more expensive.
That's what I want to do, because what I had to do is I had to make
the
button. It'll look part of it, but yeah, I've been waiting on them to come out the touch one. So
yeah, no, they are available. They're more expensive, but like you can get those. I think you can get them for about £10. I think off eBay.
And this is what it looks like when you take it all out of the case and everything. So
yeah,
less the buttons on it, but yeah. So I got the greeting card. You can program them, and I strip them down and I make them real teeny tiny. So like here's one that I've stripped down to. I'll make it a little bit smaller.
Was that the 5-input?
Yeah, it's got a USB plug. So when it's all done, it'll be able to charge.
Yeah, but is it 5-pin input? Like have you got 5 buttons with it?
Yeah, 5-button. Yeah.
But that's from probably Big Dog, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I know my stuff.
Been there, done that, huh?
Yeah. Totally.
So I just got all kinds of box of parts and metal parts and knobs and switches and LEDs and all that. So I got everything I need. Just time to do it.
Yeah.
And this would be a good time if you had a 3D printer. It'd be easy to do some things on that, like the button panel there.
Yeah.
It'd be so nice just to do that on a printer, because I had to take and file all these out, drill them out, file them all out to get the buttons in it, and it's done. But
yeah, we were talking about that earlier, actually, about the 3D printing needs to have its place in the hobby. Over at the live chat, and after all that explanation, the live chat, I don't think they were paying attention to you, but they were paying attention to your ceiling fan behind you. They say it looks like Phil said it looked like a K7 space station, and then George is like, if his head's in the right spot, it looks like to be in a cap or in a beanie cap or something like that. So, all that, and they're looking at your ceiling fan behind you on top of your head.
Only briefly.
And also, my thinking is that you said your wife is getting ready for a estate sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be in a couple weeks.
That guy doesn't happen to be a modeler, is he?
No.
Darn.
We've had one before, and did really well on it. It was a whole this guy he he was really into cars, RC cars. He had more stuff in his house than your full-blown hobby shop did. I mean, he had like not one of one thing, but about 50 of one thing, 50 of the same kit.
I'm working on that. Yes.
You know, I mean, it was unbelievable. And so we brokered a deal with a hobby shop. They came in and made him an offer, and they took it all. So.
Wow. Yeah.
Bad night.
Yeah. Well, if I had something like that at my disposal, doing an estate sale with that circumstance, I'll probably be the next one dead. You know, they're going to find me blue and not breathing among all those model kits in the stash.
Like I say, he had everything, and he worked for a company. He did a lot of marketing, so he had all these rare marketing things that only were given to certain people. Like he got certain things from like say Red Baron Pizza. He got like these they're like a wooden Red Baron plane, all made very meticulous made. They made very few of them, and it had you know, Snoopy on it and everything, and it had Red Baron Pizza. It was really cool. And so just a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I got some nice tools and things from it. I bought a few things, but
yeah, that's eBay stuff there. That's definitely eBay stuff.
Yeah,
definitely eBay. So yeah, that's extraordinary. So all you modelers out there, look out for estate sales. I guess that's the moral of that story. Besides your fan looking like a K7 space station.
I can turn it on, but I go real slow.
Right. There's Phil. It's a forced perspective.
There you go.
So, anyhow, that's I spent all day today really priming the Firebird Trans Am build that doing. I introduced this yesterday on the Across the Pond. Here's the cover. So I'll be doing that, and in between, I've been working on the Mercury 9. I keep saying to Jim over and over again that this is going to be I decided it's going to be a long-term build because it's going to be a diorama, and what they have pictured here, they have included in the kit, such as the building here and a spotlight. They don't have the helicopter. That's a helicopter up there. And they got this long hose. Actually, it's like a 2-conductor lamp wire that will go up, and it's almost like a nozzle in a
fuel filling.
At a gas station, at the petrol station, since this room is mostly British. That's that, and I got as far as. Put it next to the window so it will dry. I painted the building, airbrushed it. I have to admit, this is probably one of my best airbrush jobs that I've done in a long time, and I was very, very, very careful with it. This airbrush have seen much better days, but it still spits out the paint rather nicely. And there's like these little garage doors here, and there's a door there, and there's a garage door here. I'm going to put fiber optics above them to mimic like light fixtures and have them shine down. And on the back, have a couple light fixtures here too. And when I get my 3D printer, I'm going to do stuff for the roof, you know, like an antenna. I'm trying to see if I can get an antenna made, maybe even by scratch building it from styrene tubing and fiber optic, because I did it one time on an X-Wing. The X-Wing has that long part and then has that half moon thing. That long part of it is just a fiber optic. It's not even tubing. It's just, you get heat, you get like a 2 millimeter fiber optic, and you heat it to straighten it out. And it's pretty rigid. I mean, for a distance like that far, it's pretty rigid.
That's what you need.
Doing something like that on here too. What's that?
Oh, a bag of pipes. Yeah.
all kinds of different size aluminum, brass, and you can scratch all kinds of stuff out of that.
Yeah.
This does have some LED tape in it. The windows are blocked off from the inside. Let's get a closer look at this. I don't know if it washes out. Oh, look at that. Perfect lighting.
That looks good.
Neil Wooding do the something like the bag of pipes or something like that, or
he did. Yeah, he did a bag of pipes too. For his resin kits. I don't know what happened. I've been moving things around. Somebody's been moving them around on me. I don't know who's been doing it. But that's pretty much really it. I've been like tinkering and watching internet. I should stop doing that. I get too emotional. I get too wrapped up in what I'm watching. But I am planning on doing a lot of scratch building in the future. Just don't know when I'm going to start doing it. I think a lot has to do with the 3D printer. I want to get my virtual model printed and done. I think that's pretty much where I'm at when it comes to scratch building. So when I get past that, I'm going to do some bona fide scratch building, because I'm thinking maybe, the interior and the superstructure probably be 3D printed. And if need be, I can just mold it out of resin to make it more durable. But that's the kind of thing that I'm be evolving into. I have some kits I like to get rid of, like the Mercury 9. I really felt like building a car kit this time, but I didn't show it off. That was one thing that I got in my last haul. I got 2 of 3 AMC kits. Now I got to get the Matador. So this is the more recent addition to my car stash, and also to my, I need another Star Trek model, especially the Enterprise. I got a lot of Enterprises, and they're not even being built. But I just couldn't resist on getting the repop of the clear D. This is the clear D. So that's maybe one of these days I'll succeed in doing an Enterprise. Who knows? I haven't got the aircraft carrier, the Enterprise, just so I could say I built an Enterprise, but not Star Trek, because Star Trek seems to be like haunting me. I can't succeed in doing it. But yeah, I thought we had a really good discussion. I hope you guys thought so too, and those who are watching, about, there's just think beyond kits, maybe think beyond. Just as Pete was saying, he had to move. I showed you pictures of what he had earlier, and he had to sell them or give them away. He even included pictures of buildings, HO scale buildings that he had made, sold them or gave them away because he moved. And now, a few months down the road, it's prohibitively expensive to continue with his hobby. He bought a 3D printer, and he's going that route. But when I was a kid, I was not actually allowed. My father did not allow me to indulge in such things, because I was the quintessential underachiever in school, and I was prohibited of having a hobby, which he's seen as wasting time, frivolous and wasting time. Old school. My dad was very old school, but behind his back, I found paper and made models anyway. And I just used reference photos, mostly Star Wars. At the time, Star Wars came out, and I made a whole bunch of models out of paper, Star Wars models. If you're into cars, you can even go to maybe an RC shop. They have car bodies that are vacuum formed. You can build chassis for it from scratch. There's just so many things. One you can do if you look around and find something cheap, or making alternatives to buying a kit. There's a woman that Jim had followed, or still is. She's in the Czech Republic, and her ships of centuries ago, but these wood ships, galleon ships, she makes wonderful, and even makes the scrolling out of plaster and the fancy schmancy scrolling on the back end of the
Filigree.
ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she makes it herself out of plaster. You said. So there's a lot of things that you can indulge in when it comes to this hobby, and of course, even then, it could be expensive. Either that, or you're using shampoo a lot. But I am thinking of doing a scratch build, which is completely unrelated to anything, and it's only because I read this sci-fi book years ago and was fascinated with the ship, which was was a character, as it turns out, in the novel. So one of these days I'll probably do that. A combination of everything, vacuum forming, just get involved with many different techniques. Anyway, with that being said, we did it. We achieved it, almost 2 hours. It's time to go. And in 2 weeks, 1 week, I'm going to be at Wonderfest. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back for the Across the Pond on Saturday. And same time, same bat channel. We'll be here for the Sunday Hangout. We'll think of something to talk about before then, of course. And I think Wonderfest will give me a lot of good ideas. And I'd like to thank everybody over at the live chat. George, Joe, Mark, and Gearhead Workshop had participated in the live chat. It was lively. They talked about the evil panda a little bit of time ago with Phil and Bob. And Bob contributed a lot of things about the fire.
Evil panda.
Yeah, the Evil Panda. Yeah. I saw the Evil Panda movie. I don't know. I didn't know there was such a thing. But anyway, you contribute a lot to engine sizes to what we're talking about here. So thank you for everybody watching and on the live chat for participating. Thanks, Bob, for stopping by. I hope everything turns out for you and your family as they should. And also, Carwin, thank you for feeling better. You look good.
I feel better, but I mean, I have got I have got all these to keep me going as well. So
Hey, you know what? Those are in boxes, and there's bottles inside them. I'm sure you'll put them in that thing back there.
Oh, I've already got uses for them. Everything there is all in order, regardless of how it may appear. I know where everything is.
Don't forget, blister packs can be used for paint mixers.
Yep.
Yeah, you could do those too. Thanks, David, for showing up. It was pleasant seeing you again, as always. And thanks, Jim, for stopping by.
Oh, you're welcome.
Boy, you had a lot to say this time. Yesterday, you only said, I bought a radio, and that was it. Today, you had more to say about your other passion called paper modeling. Thank you. And Phil, rearrange your room again. I think your models deserve another rearranging.
Randall, I recovered from the first one.
And Randall, thank you for stopping by too and sharing. And this is your host extraordinaire for the Amazing Scale Modeler Hangouts. This is a talk show, and I hope you enjoyed our talk and our show and tells. See you in 2 weeks. Happy modeling, everyone.
Good day.
Good day. Bye.